After knowing each other for 5 years and being married for 2, I gave everything to Su Wei. I spoiled her into a princess who never had to lift a finger, and everyone marveled at how well she had married. But on our wedding anniversary, she was caught on camera entering Jiang Cheng's apartment arm in arm with him. The reason was simple. He was the birthmark on her heart. Heartbroken, I decided to divorce her. Later, bankrupt, she knocked on my door late at night, begging me to remarry her. But what she didn't know was that I had already married her arch-nemesis. For our second wedding anniversary, I had been preparing for a long time. I ordered flowers, decorated the house in Su Wei's favorite pink, baked a cake myself, and even prepared a big surprise inside the cake, a 2-carat diamond ring I personally designed. Now everything was ready, just waiting for Su Wei. I excitedly took a photo and posted it on social media. A minute later, a WeChat message popped up. Everyone, look, isn't this CEO Su? Someone posted a video in the company group chat and then immediately left the group. The smile froze on my face. After taking a deep breath, I opened the video. In the video, a woman resembling Su Wei, wearing a baseball cap and mask, entered Jiang Cheng's apartment arm in arm with him. The company group chat exploded with discussions, debating whether it was really CEO Su or not. Only I knew for certain that it was Su Wei. Su Wei, my wife of 5 years, whom I had loved with all my heart and soul. 5 years ago, when I first saw Su Wei at university, I was struck by her cool and fragile demeanor. Due to her poor family background, she endured countless disdainful looks at school, but she remained dignified like a rose among thorns. I was involuntarily drawn to her and began pursuing her with all my heart. But with my modest family background, I certainly couldn't compete with Jiang Cheng, the son of the Jiang group. Soon, Su Wei was won over by Jiang Cheng, and they began appearing as a couple around campus. But no matter how unique she was just one of many of Jiang Cheng's female companions, and soon Jiang Cheng began to blow hot and cold with her. In their junior year, she got drunk and was taken to a hotel by a thug, only to be seen by a classmate who disliked her. Jiang Cheng used this as an excuse to dump her. Devastated, she was about to jump off a building to commit suicide, and I proposed to her just before she jumped. Despite Jiang Cheng, she accepted my proposal. After marriage, I doted on her to the bone, thinking that 2 years would be enough to melt this block of ice. Unexpectedly, the person who had never let me touch her turned and walked into another man's room. At 2 in the morning, Su Wei entered the door with an angry face. At that time, I was sitting blankly on the sofa with lifeless eyes. She threw her bag at my face. Su Chun, are you sick or something? Was the video in the company group chat posted by someone you hired? Are you fucking stalking me? If you don't want to hand over the company to me, just say it directly. Why are you playing these tricks? Filming this kind of video? Aren't you disgusted with yourself? I have a pure and innocent relationship with Jiang Cheng. Do you think you can smear us just by filming a video? I threw her bag on the floor and asked her in a hoarse voice. Pure and innocent? Staying at his place for 4 hours until 10 p.m. at night. You call that pure and innocent? Since Jiang Cheng came back, you've been out all day? I've turned a blind eye. To keep your heart, I even gave you the company. You said you couldn't stand men getting too close. And in 2 years of marriage, I haven't even held your hand. But you so easily took his arm. I'm just a joke. Su Wei, did you really never love me? I looked up at her, like a humble dog begging for food. I thought she might have even a little pity for me. But she coldly took out a stack of photos from her bag and threw them at me. In the photos, it was me and the man who took her to the hotel years ago, and in my hand, I was holding a stack of money. Su Chen, you think I love you? Would I love a wolf that has harmed me? If it weren't for your dirty tricks back then, would Jiang Cheng and I have separated? Do you know how disgusting it is for me to look at you? Everything you've given me is what you owe me. She became more and more agitated as she spoke, her eyes filled with deep hatred. My hand holding the photos trembled slightly. Back then, I did give that man money, but it wasn't payment for harming her. It was to buy back those unspeakable photos of Su Wei from him. But now, I don't want to explain anymore. I'm too tired, so I calmly raised my head and looked straight into her eyes. Su Wei, let's get a divorce. In 2 years of marriage, this was the first time I'd seen her so angry. She trampled the flowers I had prepared and smashed the cake I had made. Finally, she pointed at my nose in exasperation. Su Chen, why do you have to ask me for a divorce? You're just a dog, and you'll always be nothing but a dog by my side. I won't let you leave, you can't go anywhere. I frowned as I looked at her, not because I was angry, but because I could barely hold on anymore. Only after she finished her tirade and slammed the door did I let out a sigh of relief. I supported myself on the sofa as I slowly knelt down, clutching my stomach and curling into a ball, which helped alleviate some of the intense pain. I have severe stomach problems. Right after graduation, in order to earn more money and provide Su Wei with a better life, I worked tirelessly. There were too many social obligations, and sometimes to win over clients, I drank myself into oblivion at dinner tables. Days of drinking until I vomited, then drinking again. I endured this for a full 2 years. But in front of Su Wei, I didn't dare show even a hint of fatigue. She would coldly look at me and tell me not to act pitiful. It turns out that when someone doesn't love you, all your exhaustion and suffering become meaningless. Cold sweat rolled down my forehead. Just as I was hesitating whether to call Su Wei, the doorbell rang at the perfect moment. I mustered up my strength, forced a smile, and dug out the ring from the shattered cake, holding it in my palm. Then I opened the door. It wasn't Su Wei outside. I felt as if all my support had been pulled away. My legs weakened, and I almost collapsed to the ground. Lin Yimin reached out to steady me, then peered inside to see the mess everywhere. She couldn't help but mock me. Bro, you're not doing so well, are you? I pushed her away, furrowing my brow. What are you doing here? Lin Yimin was a poor student my parents used to support. Like Su Wei, she had worked hard to leave her mountain village and got into the same university as me. Back in college, she never liked Su Wei, calling her a vain green tea girl. We had countless arguments about this. 2 years ago, when she learned I was going to marry Su Wei, we had a big argument and then lost contact. Now she appears before me, witnessing my most miserable state, which makes me very uncomfortable. Auntie said she couldn't reach you all night, so she asked me to come check on you. She ignored my obvious annoyance, shrugging indifferently. Just as I was about to tell her to leave, another wave of excruciating pain hit me, feeling as if it would tear my body apart. My vision started to blur, and before I fainted, Lin Yimin supported me, reaching for her phone while scolding me. Are you sick in the head? Torturing yourself day after day. I thought she was right. I really was sick. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a hospital bed, with Su Wei standing in front of me, frowning. She said impatiently, "Why are you here? Why am I here?" My mind was foggy, and I searched around for any sign of Lin Yimin. I didn't see her, so she must have left. I felt a bit unwell. Thank you for coming to take care of me. I hastily spoke up, afraid that Su Wei would notice my weakness and mock me for being frail again. Wei Wei. A familiar voice suddenly came from the doorway, and Su Wei and I both looked over. Jiangqing stood at the door holding a stack of test results. He wore a hurt expression and seemed somewhat at a loss. Wei Wei, I didn't know you came here to see Su-chun. The test results are out. There's nothing wrong, so I'll be leaving. Seeing him like that, I couldn't help but laugh. I was actually Su Wei's husband, yet he acted as if he had caught us in the act. Su Wei looked down at me, her tone icy. Su-chun, Jiangqing wasn't feeling well. I just accompanied him for a checkup. I happened to see you here, so I came to see what you were up to this time. You seem fine, and Jiangqing seems to have misunderstood. I'll be going now. As she said this, she turned to leave. I couldn't hold back anymore and reached out to grab her hand before she left. Vivi, can you please stay and keep me company? She paused for a moment, but still pulled her hand away. Su-chun, if you're really not feeling well, you can ask your mom to stay with you. Jiangqing has depression, and he might die without my care. She left without any hesitation, leaving me heartbroken. After she left, Lin Yimin emerged from the shadows outside the door. Su-chun, sometimes I think you deserve this, but other times I feel sorry for you. You've been fawning over her for so many years, and in the end, she discards you like a dog. After all these years, you still can't beat young Master Jiang. It must feel awful, right? Lin Yimin is still as sharp-tongued as ever after all these years. But everything she said was true and cut right to the heart. She sat down and casually peeled an orange, handing it to me. Brother, things have come to this point. Aren't you going to divorce her? You have no self-respect left in front of Su Wei now. You weren't like this before. I ignored her and casually opened my social media feed. The first post was from Su Wei. In the photo were two tightly clasped hands, with a caption below. The true love I lost in my youth has now returned to my hands. If he's her true love, then what have I been all these years? Before I could feel bitter, I received a message from a stranger on WeChat. It was a video showing Su Wei bustling about in the kitchen, cooking with a happy smile on her face. In our 2 years of marriage, Su Wei had never cooked a meal for me. All our friends said I had spoiled her into a pampered princess who never lifted a finger. The little princess I willingly supported has now fallen to earth and is cooking meals, but it's not for me. After staying in the hospital for a few days, my stomach was almost healed. I planned to be discharged today. As I was packing my things, the administrative director from my company called. Mr. Su, Ms. Su has taken 3 days off for a vacation and is currently unreachable. Could you think of any way to contact her? I was a bit stunned. After the company got on track, I had handed over most of the authority to Su Wei, while I focused on taking care of everything in her daily life at home. Although many decisions were actually influenced by me behind the scenes, I hadn't directly managed company affairs for a long time. Today, for the call to reach me, it must be a very thorny issue. You can tell me whatever the matter is, it's the same. My tone remained calm and unperturbed, but the person on the other end sta. Root to stammer and hesitate. My intuition told me there was a problem. After leaving the hospital, I immediately drove to the company. The company's top executives were in a meeting, and they were surprised to see me come in. But I was even more surprised. Today's meeting topic was to discuss the transfer of company shares. I sat in the main seat, listening to the executives report to me. The more I listened, the paler my face became. When this company was first established, I had given Su Wei 30% of the shares. Last year, when Jiang Cheng returned to the country, she became increasingly distant towards me. Fearing I would lose her, I increased her shares to 50% and handed over decision-making power to her. And now, she wants to transfer the entire company to Jiang Cheng, including my portion. The company's executives were treading on thin ice in front of me, extremely nervous. During the meeting, I put on a grim face and halted the transfer plan. Upon hearing the news, Su Wei immediately rushed back. When she arrived home, I was twirling a glass of red wine. During my last hospital stay, the doctor strictly prohibited me from drinking alcohol, but I really couldn't resist. Su Wei rushed over, snatched my wine glass, and smashed it on the floor. Su Chun, was it you who stopped the transfer plan? I looked at her with hazy, drunken eyes as she stood before me, fuming with anger. Yes, Wei Wei. This company is our life's work. Why should we hand it over to an outsider? Besides, do you know that the Jiang Group is now on the brink of bankruptcy? Jiang Cheng's return and approach to you is purposeful. Su Wei's expression became impatient, and she angrily interrupted me. Su Chun, I originally owned half the shares in this company, and for over a year you haven't been involved in managing it at all. The fact that it's doing so well now is all thanks to my efforts. Not to mention, you owe me and Jiang Cheng. You should compensate him. You already have me, so what's wrong with giving the company to him? I looked at her in disbelief. Over the past year, although I hadn't gone to the company, with her naivety and abilities, she was far from capable of running such a large company. If it weren't for my behind-the-scenes maneuvering, it would have been impossible to achieve the current success. Moreover, I didn't know Jiang Cheng anything at all. I firmly refused her. Tears welled up in her eyes, perhaps because I had never refused any of her requests before, no matter how unreasonable they were. In the past, I wouldn't have believed I could refuse her either. Seeing my stern expression, Su Wei moved closer. She buried her face in my shoulder, quietly sobbing. She opened her mouth with a grieved tone. Su Chen, why are you being so harsh to me? I couldn't help but reach out to stroke her head. She took the opportunity to wrap her arms around my neck, looking at me pitifully. Su Chen, I know Jiang Cheng has hit a rough patch. I just wanted to help him out, thinking of our past relationship. You know he's different from you. You can endure hardships, and if you lose your company, you can start over. But his depression is already severe. If he fails, who knows what he might do? Just agree to me this one last time. Once his company is on the right track, I'll cut off contact with him. We can go back to managing your parents' company, or start a new business. You're so capable, I'm sure you won't let me suffer. Su Chen, after this is over, we can have a child. In the future, the three of us can live a good life together. No one will come to bother us anymore, okay? My heart felt bitter. For 2 years, I hadn't even touched her hand. Now, for the sake of another man, she actively embraced me and even talked about having a child with me. I gripped her chin, and she didn't shy away. I was as greedy as a dog that had caught the scent of blood. I was so desperate for a family, and so eager to have a child of our own. I buried my head in her palm and answered softly. All right, Vivi, I promise you. The transfer process went smoothly, as the documents were already prepared, so naturally, it was handled quickly. My heart was bitter, feeling as if the child I had painstakingly raised was being handed over to someone else. But Su Wei's promise was too tempting for me. Tomorrow, the company would no longer be mine. When I dragged my tired body home, Su Wei was bustling about in the kitchen. Her culinary skills were excellent. It wasn't that she couldn't cook, but that she wouldn't cook for me. After all the dishes were served, Su Wei opened a bottle of red wine with a beaming smile. She was in high spirits, saying she wanted to celebrate with me. To our beautiful tomorrow. Infected by her mood, a smile also spread across my face. This was the happiest meal we've had since we met. We both drank too much. I carried her to bed, skillfully removed her coat, and changed her into pajamas. She drowsily wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered tenderly in my ear. I love you. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. If her phone hadn't lit up at just the right moment, I would have almost had the illusion that she had fallen in love with me. A message on the dimly glowing screen stung my eyes. Wei Wei, how are things going with Su Chun? When are you divorcing him? I pried Wei's hand off my shoulder and, as if possessed, picked up her phone. I sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her chat history with Jiang Cheng. The more I read, the colder I felt. My whole body trembled as I buried my head and wept. In the chat logs, she said mockingly, Su Chun is so easy to fool. I just had to trick him by saying I'd give him a child, and he agreed to transfer the company to. Oh, you. It's so funny, he's just a dog I keep, yet he has such delusional hopes. He even wants me to have his child. I feel sick just looking at his face. Jiangcheng, once we get the company, let's get married. Su Wei slept until nearly noon, not sleeping a wink all night. As she walked out of the room, I was eating lunch at the dining table. She looked at the time and frowned. Su Chun, didn't you say you were going to handle the paperwork today? How do you have the mood to sit here and eat? Deliberately ignoring her condescending tone, I slowly picked up a napkin and wiped my mouth. Su Wei, I suddenly feel that I put too much effort into starting this business. I don't want to give it to Jiangqing anymore. Her face turned ugly, and she grabbed the wine glass on the table and threw it at me. I tilted my head slightly to dodge, but the scattered glass shards still cut my cheek. Blood droplets trickled down my cheek, but she seemed oblivious. Su Chun, we had an agreement. How can you just back out like this? I spread my hands, displaying an indifferent expression. Of course I can back out. After all, I own half the company's shares. Without my approval, no one can take it away. She lunged at me like a madwoman, trying to hit me. I grabbed her hands and pushed her to the ground. Her entire face was filled with disbelief. I also found it hard to believe. Once, I could have laid my heart bare before her, but now I was discarding her like an old shoe. She didn't dare to attack me again, just sitting on the ground with reddened eyes. Su Chun, I'm only asking for what you owe Jiangcheng. Why won't you give it? I leaned down and gripped her chin. Shui Wei, listen carefully. I don't owe you anything, nor do I owe Jiangcheng. As for that incident years ago, I suggest you investigate thoroughly to find out who really owes you before speaking. For the past 2 years, fearing it might upset her, I had never revealed the truth about what happened back then. Even now, some things, if spoken from my mouth, she might not believe. But whether she can uncover the truth or not, I no longer care. I took out the divorce agreement I had prepared last night and threw it in front of her. Su Wei, let's get a divorce. In the divorce agreement, I reduced Su Wei's shares to 10%. In the year and more since she took over the company, she had embezzled funds multiple times. In the past, out of love, I chose to ignore it, but that doesn't mean I don't have evidence. 10% of the shares is already my utmost kindness. She tore the divorce agreement to shreds. I didn't stop her. After all, I had already found lawyers last night. Seeing my indifference, she stood up and tried to burrow into my arms. She cried and begged me to agree with her. But now I only felt disgusted. I raised my hand to block her. Then, without a trace of attachment, I turned and left. I found a hotel to settle in, then called each member of the company's management to inform them of the changes in shareholding. After handling everything, I finally lay down and fell into a peaceful sleep. This sleep was very restful. Since getting married, I had often felt anxious due to Su Wei's attitude, and it had been a long time since I'd slept so peacefully. In the following period, I officially returned to take charge of the company. I already had several big projects in hand, and due to my return, the collaborations went exceptionally smoothly. Su Wei only came to the company once. I had security stop her at the entrance, and surprisingly, she left quietly without making a fuss. But I didn't expect her to follow me. When I opened the door to my hotel room, she suddenly rushed out from the hallway and blocked my way. After not seeing her for a week, she looked much more haggard. It seems Jiangcheng had put considerable pressure on her. I invited her in, and we sat at the dining table. Once again, I took out the divorce agreement and handed it to her. She gritted her teeth and tore it to pieces. Su Chun, I was the one who suffered with you when the company was first established. Now that it's successful, you want to get rid of me? Not a chance. I smiled calmly. When we first started the business, she was indeed by my side, but she didn't really suffer any hardships. I provided her with a life of luxury, and often after finishing business dinners, I'd come home drunk and bleary-eyed to make her late-night snacks. That day ended in an unpleasant parting, with her frantically picking up everything she could reach and throwing it at me. I gritted my teeth and endured it. Before leaving, I said to her, from now on, we're even. There's no longer any connection between us. Su Wei didn't come to find me again, but using her position as a company shareholder, she got hold of our business partners. She brought Jiangcheng along to disrupt several deals, forcibly snatching several big business opportunities from my hands. The executives in the company were all indignant, but I remained calm. After this happened repeatedly, I got annoyed and arranged to meet her and Jiangcheng. In the tea house, I asked them what they really wanted. Su Wei had a smug smile on her face. Su Chun, if you hand over the company to us, you can still preserve your life's work. Otherwise, it won't be long before the company can't continue operating. I rubbed my forehead and sighed. Then after a while, I looked up. Are you sure? Su Wei suppressed the wild joy in her eyes and said softly, Su Chun, as long as you're willing to give the company to Jiangcheng, we can keep 20% of the shares for you. You can still participate in the company's decision-making in the future. I massaged my temples and placed the newly drafted divorce agreement in front of her. No need. You can have all the shares, but you need to sign this divorce agreement. This time she didn't hesitate at all. grabbing the pen and signing immediately. It was as if she was afraid I might change my mind if she delayed even a second. When we came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Lin Yimin was there to pick me up. She deliberately parked the car in front of Su Wei and Jiang Cheng, leaned out, and smiled at them teasingly. Mr. Jiang, congratulations on getting what you wanted. I wonder if my brother's company is enough to fill the hole in your Jiang group. And you, ex-wife, thank you for setting my brother free. I wonder if with your stupidity, you'll have any tricks to deal with all the women around Mr. Jiang in the future. I gave her an annoyed glance, not because of anything else, but because I didn't want to create any more complications. Jiang Cheng and Su Wei's expressions changed several times. Su Wei glared at me fiercely and said sarcastically, I was wondering why you suddenly agreed to give us the company. So you already had someone lined up. Lin Yimin, you really have no shame. Su Qin never liked you back then, and now you're taking advantage of the situation. Su Wei, show some respect. I suddenly got angry and snapped at her coldly. Su Wei pursed her lips and tightened her grip on Jiang Cheng's arm. She seemed to want him to say something to stand up for her. Jiang Cheng turned his head away as if it didn't concern him. Su Wei looked a bit embarrassed, snorted, and walked away with Jiang Cheng. Once in the car, Lin Yimin turned my head towards her and examined me carefully. Only after confirming that she couldn't see any signs of sadness on my face did she let out a soft sigh. You know, back then you fought with your uncle and aunt over Su Wei, and now look how it all turned out, all for nothing in the end. And besides, after how Su Wei treated you, are you really willing to just hand over the company to them? Before I could speak, her eyes had already started to redden. I chuckled and reached out to pinch her puffed-up cheeks. I'm the one who's been wronged. Why are you crying? She widened her eyes. I'm upset on your behalf, okay? I ruffled her hair and said seriously, do you think I'm the type of person who lets others walk all over me? If they want it, I can give it to them, but whether they can swallow it or not depends on their own abilities. Most of the senior executives in the company have been with me from the start, working hard step by step to build it up. Now that I'm leaving, they naturally want to follow me and start anew. Moreover, after Jiang Cheng takes over, new leadership means new favorites. If they stay, they certainly won't be given important roles. So what I'm leaving them is nothing more than an empty shell with a facade. As for whether they can keep it going, that's no longer my cause. RN. I went back with Lin Yimin to my parents' suburban villa. Originally, our family business was just barely getting by. After Lin Yimin graduated, to thank my parents for supporting her, she has been wholeheartedly helping my parents with the business these past few years. Fortunately, she's down to earth and capable. In recent years, my parents' company has flourished, becoming one of the top conglomerates. My parents were very pleased about my return. We tacitly agreed not to mention the past. After taking over, I carried out bold reforms. Combined with the team I brought and the connections I had accumulated, the company secured several big deals in succession. These 2 years I wasn't home, Lin Yimin took care of everything, and my parents have come to rely on her very much. After the divorce, my mother hinted several times, both directly and indirectly, about me getting together with Lin Yimin. Every time, both of us felt quite awkward and tried to change the subject by talking about other things. Actually, I had considered the idea, but she was too outstanding, and I felt I wasn't quite good enough for her. I met Su Wei again at a business dinner party. That day, Yimin was dressed beautifully and accompanied me, holding my arm. Many business partners teased us, saying we made a perfect couple, and asked when they could drink to our wedding. I smiled and explained to them that Yimin and I were just business partners, and that she was so excellent that pursuing her would be a long journey for me. A sneer came from behind. What a perfect match, a bitch and a dog, together forever. We turned back in surprise. Today was a high-end dinner party, and hearing such vulgar words in this setting shocked everyone. Behind us, Su Wei was holding Jiang Cheng's arm, looking arrogant. Su Wei was dressed beautifully tonight. If she didn't speak, she would attract everyone's attention like a true socialite. Unfortunately, I've spoiled her too much these 2 years, fostering her sharp-tongued and arrogant personality. Jiang Cheng awkwardly pulled her inside. I chuckled softly, but suddenly my arm felt empty. I looked down and saw that Yimin had already withdrawn her hand from my arm. For some reason, my heart felt empty too. Many prominent figures came to the event tonight. Yimin skillfully navigated among them, her elegance, poise, and extensive professional knowledge attracting many admiring glances. I fidgeted with the wine glass in my hand, feeling anxious and distracted. Not far away, Jiang Cheng was enthusiastically promoting his products to others. Recently, I had snatched a few lucrative deals from Jiang Group, and now they were on their last legs. Perhaps tonight would be his final opportunity. That big client was brushing him off, while his eyes kept wandering over to Su Wei. It seemed he was more interested in Su Wei. Jiang Cheng eagerly pushed Su Wei in front of that man, almost pleadingly. Su Wei let out a scream and splashed all the wine in her glass onto the man. Jiang Cheng's face instantly darkened as he apologized while pushing Su Wei into the man's arms. Su Wei had been protected too well by me. She hadn't had the chance to see many of life's cruelties, so naturally, she didn't know how to handle them. She could only struggle frantically, looking around for help. But no one would offend such an important client for her sake. Su Wei's gaze fell on me, a glimmer of hope flashing in her eyes. I flashed a smile and raised my glass from afar. Congratulations, your wish has come true. As the banquet ended, I walked out of the hall with Lin Yimin. The night wind was a bit chilly, so I took off my coat and gently draped it over her shoulders. From the shadows emerged a woman with disheveled hair, walking quickly towards us. I instinctively shielded Yimin behind me. As she came closer, I finally saw her face clearly. It was Su Wei. Her eyes were slightly red, looking as if she had been crying. Su Chun, the company is going to be ruined. I nodded, feeling somewhat regretful. Su Chun, it's completely over between Jiang Chung and me. I grew a bit impatient and coldly interrupted her. A man like Jiang Chung needs a woman who can help him. You neither have the ability nor are willing to let him control you. Did you really expect him to pamper you like I used to? She grabbed the hem of my clothes, acting coquettishly. Su Chun, I know you hate to see me suffer the most. Why don't we start over? I couldn't help but laugh. Seeing my expression soften, her face lit up with joy, and she tried to lean into my arms. I reached back and pulled Lin Yimin, who had been hiding behind me, forward. You don't think I'm some kind of recycling bin, do you? Start over? Why don't you ask my wife if she agrees? Su Wei's face turned pale, seemingly not expecting Lin Yimin to be behind me. Lin Yimin, don't think that by clinging to Su Chen he'll like you. You think I don't know that you secretly liked him back when we were in school? He didn't like you then, and he won't like you now? Su Chun, don't just get with someone randomly to make me angry. You love me. I ignored her and turned to look at Yimin. She had her head down, looking dejected. I gripped her wrist, my voice trembling slightly. Yimin, is what she said true? Lin Yimin, with a hint of fear, tried to back away. Amidst Su Wei's shocked cries, I kissed Yimin's lips. Su Wei screamed and rushed over, trying to pull us apart like a madwoman. She grabbed Lin Yimin's hair, trying to drag her away. Anger slowly crept into my heart. Without any more hesitation, I reached out and lifted Su Wei up. Gripping her collar, I said through gritted teeth, Su Wei, stay away from my woman. And from now on, you'd better not show up in front of me again. Get lost. I pushed her away, then gently helped Lin Yimin up, tenderly brushing the dust off her clothes. Then I firmly took her hand and turned to leave. Su Wei was still behind us, shouting defiantly. Su Chun, don't forget, you owe me. How dare you fall in love with someone else? I didn't look back, ignoring her words completely. However, Yimin stopped walking. After a moment's pause, to my surprise, she turned and ran towards Su Wei. She raised her hand and slapped Su Wei across the face. Su Wei, Su Chun doesn't owe you anything. These past few years he's been slaving away for you, not because he was indebted to you. She pulled up a video on her phone and held it in front of Su Wei's face. In the video, Jiang Chung was casually smoking a cigarette with his arm around that thug from back then, asking nonchalantly, so what do you think? Didn't I tell you that girl was something else? She's like a dog skin plaster that I can't shake off. Thanks, brother, for helping me get rid of this big trouble. That idiot Su Chun is such a fool, actually spending big money to buy those photos for this kind of trash, haha. The video abruptly ended, freezing on Jiang Cheng's face full of laughter. Before the screen's light faded, Su Wei collapsed to the ground, her face pale. I confessed my feelings to Lin Yimin. My mom was so excited she almost cried, holding our hands with trembling fingers. My dad kept urging us to get our marriage certificate right away, as if his daughter-in-law would vanish if we delayed for even a second. I suggested taking Yimin to choose wedding rings, but she shook her head, pointing at the 2-carat diamond ring in my room, saying that one would do. I casually tossed the ring into the trash can, pulled her close, and said seriously, my wife deserves only the best. This one is too small. How could it be worthy of you? The weather was nice on the day we went to get our marriage certificate. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, I took her to a jewelry store, despite Lin Yimin's objections. I patiently accompanied her as she chose, and even the store clerk admiringly said I was so good to my wife. When I was swiping the card, my phone rang. I handed it to Yimin, gesturing for her to answer it for me. When I finished entering the PIN and looked up, I saw her face was grave. Su Chun, it's the police station calling. Su Wei is threatening to jump off a building. I took her hand and started walking out. What does her jumping have to do with me? Honey, what should we have for dinner tonight? Lin Yimin held me back, her face full of concern. Su Chun, you should go. If she really does something drastic, we can't just stand by and do nothing, given that you know her. I helplessly patted her head. My wife is just too kind-hearted. All right, I'll do as you say. But just to be clear, UCA, and blame me if I can't talk her down. The wind picked up on our way there. When I arrived, Su Wei was standing on the rooftop, her frail body swaying precariously in the wind. The wind on the rooftop was a bit chilly, so I wrapped my coat tightly around me. The police officer called out to her. "Miss, we've brought the person you asked for. Come down, and we can talk about whatever's troubling you." Su-wei turned to me, her face lighting up with joy. "Su-chun, I knew you'd come. You still love me, don't you?" I glanced at the time, feeling a bit anxious. "Su-chun, you were just as eager to get me to come down back then, saying you wanted to marry me. Can you come hug me? I'm scared." Her pitiful appearance made me feel dizzy for a moment. The old her would have maintained an air of superiority even in the face of death. Seeing that I didn't move, she became somewhat agitated. "Su-chun, come quickly and hold me as I come down. If you just come and ask me, I'll forget all the ways you've mistreated me. We can start over. If you don't come over now, I'll never forgive you." I looked at her and suddenly smiled. "Miss Su, you've misunderstood. I'm in a hurry because if I'm any later, I'll miss the dinner my wife made for me. Why don't you just jump already? That way I can get home sooner. Don't worry, I'll take care of your funeral arrangements. We were married after all, so I'll make sure it's a grand affair." It was the police officers who covered my mouth and dragged me away. In the end, Su-wei didn't jump. Those who have reached the pinnacle, even when they fall into the mire, still cling to life. After all, when a person is gone, everything is gone. The last time I saw Su-wei was in the hospital. I was accompanying the pregnant Lin Yimin for her prenatal checkup. As I carefully supported Yimin, Su-wei came towards us. She was there to have her injuries examined, followed by police officers from the station. As they passed by me, I overheard their quiet discussion. "This woman's quite pitiful. She's quite pretty, but married a man with no money. Not only that, he beats her constantly. She finally reported it to the police when she couldn't take the beatings anymore." Sigh. Lin Yimin tightened her grip on my hand. As we passed by, I carefully shielded Yimin in my arms. From beginning to end, I never looked at Su-wei again. The future